Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to another board game review. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at classic college and pro basketball. This is designed by John Kuchar, released by TBC Games. It was originally published in 2005. It's for one or two players, and a game's going to take you between an hour and two to play out. Now, this game actually has three different ways that you can play. Two of them are sort of similar, and then one is a little bit different, though they all use the same game engine. So, as the name of the game would suggest, you can use college basketball teams. You can also play with pro teams, and then there's even a way that you can use just team cards instead of individual player cards. And then on top of that, there is a basic version of the rules that you can play through, and then there are several advanced options that you can add onto it as you get more familiar with the game. But how does it all work? Well, instead of rolling dice, this uses a deck of cards called factor cards. And you'll be using these cards to first determine if a player is able to get a shot off, and then to determine what the result is, and everything will flow right from those cards. So how does it all come together? Well, let's take a look at everything that comes inside the box. I'll show you a sample of play, and then I'll tell you what I think after further review. Okay, so here is an overview of the different components that come with the game, and as you can see, there is quite a bit. Now, I have laid out 4 different teams to showcase the 2 different ways that you can play. Here on the basic game board, I have laid out the 1990-91 Duke team playing against the 1990-91 UNLV team. And then on the advanced boards, I have a classic matchup of the 1985-86 Boston Celtics taking on the 85-86 Los Angeles Lakers. And I have them set up on the 2 different boards just so you can see kind of at a glance how the boards will differ, and we'll show you how those work when we go through our sample of play. Each of the teams will come in their own envelope, and it comes with every player that suited up for that team that season, even if they were a bit player that only played a couple minutes here and there. The rule booklet is 4 pages that are double-sided, and there is a nice index on the side here to tell you where everything is. And all of the advanced rules are at the very end of the booklet, so as you get used to the game, you can add some of those more advanced rules to your game. In addition, there are 4 other sheets that have a more in-depth look at some of the options in the game. It comes with a sheet that describes how the fatigue system works. Just a quick sheet that will show you a special rating for players that have a plus on their shot rating. And then a sheet that shows you how a play sequence will work out when there is an assist result from the player card. We'll show you one of those when we go through our sample of play. And then finally there is a sheet that just has an overview of what the player card looks like and what each of the different numbers mean. Then there are 2 reference boards. This one goes again with the fatigue ratings, the fatigue setting if you're using that. And there is a special side for if you're playing with a college team or if you're playing with a pro team. And then there's a larger double-sided board. One side has all the different changes that will take place with the different advanced settings. If you're using a press defense, if a player's backed off. And we'll touch on a couple of these when we go through our sample of play, but these are all advanced settings that you don't need to use with the basic version of the game. And then finally, the back side has another advanced rule that you can add to the game, and it's a power rating, where a player that performed better over a season has less of a chance of getting a turnover against a lower powered player. The game comes with 3 different types of score sheets. This is the college score sheet. So you just write in the players' names on the sides. You can keep track of their fouls, team fouls for both halves. And then on the side is the time clock, where you'll tick off for each segment that goes by. You can see it has first half and then the second half up there. The next score sheet is for if you're playing out with a pro team. So you can see the small difference. There's now 6 fouls for each team, and then the team fouls are divided up by quarters. And then the same with the play clock. It's divided into 4 quarters, the first 2 up top and the second 2 at the bottom. And so it comes with several copies on plain paper, and then it comes with a nice cardstock version that you can then make photocopies of when you run out of copies that come in the box. And then the last score sheet is if you're playing with a team card game. So in addition to playing out a game using all the individual player cards, you can also purchase set where you just have a team card, and so instead of keeping track of individual players, you would just play out the game using these team cards. And then there's a handful of tokens that you'll use if you're incorporating the advanced rules in your game. I'll show you the fatigue token, and then you'll see some of the other tokens that come with the game, and these all go along with the advanced rules that you can add into your game. And then the star of the show is these cards. These are the cards that you'll be using to get all of the results for your games. You can see they have 4 different results on each of them. And so what will happen when you flip through the deck, you can rotate the cards around so that you'll further randomize the results that you'll get. And the cards will be printed in red or in black, and that's going to let you know right at a glance if you're going to be checking the offensive player or the defensive player for a particular play sequence. And we'll go through a play sequence here just a sec. We'll look at a individual player card and then show you how this all works out. So here we have the starting lineup for the 1990-91 Duke champion team, and we'll take a look at their starting center, Christian Laettner. So at the top of your card, it'll have their position, their name, their height, and then it'll have the shot rating. In this case, we see it's a 16/17. The number before the slash refers to their 2-point shooting, and the number after it refers to their 3-point shooting. And how that works, when you flip over a card, when you first start a possession, it's going to refer you to a position, and then it'll give you a number. So in this case, the center would refer to Laettner, and then the 9, you're going to compare that to their shot rating. If their shot rating is equal to or higher than the number listed, then that means that they're able to get a shot off. If the number is greater than their 2-point shot rating, but not higher than their 3-point shot rating, then they'll get a 3-point shot off. So in Laettner's case, only a result of a 17 here would allow him to get a 3-point shot off. So Laettner has the ball, and he's going to get a shot off, and then you'd flip the next card over to see what happens. And first you're going to see if it's going to come from the offensive card or the defense. It's colored in black, and then it also says offense, so you know it's going to come from his card. And then you're going to use this bottom number here, which in this case is a 82, and you'll look at his card, and we see on the offense side at 82 it says that he missed the ball, and then he'd go into a rebound sequence, which again would be flipping over another card. And that's really how the game plays out. Each sequence you're going to be finding if a player is able to control the ball and get a shot off, and then what happens on that shot. So we'll continue this sequence. We'll say he missed the shot, so we'll flip the next card over to see who gets a chance at grabbing the rebound. And it tells us that it's on the defense, the shooting guard, which for UNLV is Anderson Hunt, and it just needs a rating of 1. And we see that Anderson Hunt has a defensive rebound rating of 4, so he would grab the rebound, and then UNLV would take possession of the ball, and they would go down the court and see if they can put some points on the board. So we'll look back at Laettner's card for some of the other ratings. The assist rating is how likely they are to get an assist on a play, and how that works. Let's say that Laettner's shot had went in instead of missing, and so you'd flip over the next card, and you're gonna refer to the position and the number to see if there was an assist credited for the shot. Now if it refers to the player who just took the shot, then it would simply be a unassisted play, and you'd move on. However, if it refers to another position, which in this case it says the small forward, so we look small forward for Duke right now is Thomas Hill. We see that his assist rating is an 11, and this is saying small forward 9, so his assist rating is higher than that number, so then Thomas Hill would get credited with an assist. And so as you can see, once you get how the cards work and how to read the factor cards, you can really get a good flow going with the game and move the possessions back and forth rather quickly. Okay, so the last thing we'll show before we do a sample of play is what happens with fatigue. So when a factor card is pulled that has this X down here, that means that at the next stoppage of play, you're going to run a fatigue check. Fatigue is monitored by how many shots a player has taken, and then it's going to be referenced with their shots per game rating. Basically, when a player has exceeded their shots per game, they're going to become fatigued and they need to rest. And how you're going to determine which player needs to be checked for that is you'll go to this chart here. And as I said, there's a different chart for college and for a pro game, depending on which one you're playing. We have two college teams here, so we'll use this side. So let's say that came up, and then we have a stoppage of play. So we'll flip a card. We're going to refer to this number here, and it says 64. So this is telling us that we're going to be checking the visiting team. And so you would look, and everybody that's on the floor right now for the visiting team, if they had exceeded their shots per game. So we're going to look at the visiting team, and then we're going to compare it with this chart depending on what time in the half it is. So let's say this came up with 7 minutes left in the first half of the game. So let's look at the power forward, Stacey Ogman. You see he has a shots per game of 11, and so we're going to we'll reference the 11, and between 8 and 1 second to go in the first half, it says it's 7. So if he has taken 7 or more shots, then he would need to sit down until the next stoppage of play, whether that's a dead ball or a timeout. And if we were in the second half and a player has exceeded their shots per game, that would mean they would need to sit out the rest of the game, or if they didn't, then they would be fatigued. And that's where you would put this token on the player to remind yourself that that player is now fatigued, and that will limit their effectiveness out on the court. So pretty easy system to keep track of. This is an optional rule, though it's probably one of the easier ones to implement in your game. Okay, so let's go through a couple possessions of a game to show you what it looks like in sort of real time. We're at the beginning of the second half here between Duke and UNLV. Duke is currently leading 45-41, and they won the first half tip-off. So UNLV will start with the ball to inbound here. And so first thing, we're looking for the power forward. And that's Stacey Ogman, and at 20, so that's way above his shot rating. So we'll mark off a tick of time, and then we'll see if the next player can get a shot off. This is asking for a shooting guard with 13, so we look at Anderson Hunt, and we see it's above his 2-point rating, and it's under his 3-point rating. So that means that he's going to take a shot, but it's going to be a 3-pointer. So we'll flip the next card. We're looking at his card because it's offense, and it's a 69. We'll go down to his 3-point field goal, and a 69 is going to be outside of it, so it's a miss. So we'll mark down that he missed a 3-point field goal, and now we'll do a rebound sequence. So the first person to get a shot is the offensive center. So that's George Ackles. And we see he has an offensive rebound rating of 9, which is not higher than 13. So then we'll flip to the next card. And it's going to be another chance for the offense. And this time it's Larry Johnson, And he has an offensive rebound rating of 18, and he only needed to get a 4. So Johnson grabs the offensive rebound, and then he gets a chance to put the shot right back up. So we're going to be reading off his card at 79 is a foul. So he grabbed the board, went up, and got fouled. And we're going to see who fouled him. You'll see there are numbers, or a number range with all the positions here. So we flip another card, we get a 2, and that tells us it's the shooting guard that fouled him. So Billy McAfee will pick up his second foul, and then Larry Johnson will go to the line. And we'll just simply flip 2 cards over, reading those numbers there, and see if it's between his free throw rating, which is down at the bottom here, and he has a 1 through 81. So the first free throw is good, and the second free throw is good. So 2 points for Johnson at the free throw line. And then we're going to start another possession, this time with Duke. So it says shooting guard 11, so that's McAfee. And that is below his 2-point shot rating, so he'll get a shot off. Mark off 1 tick of time. Going to be looking at his card at 39, and that's going to be another foul. Let's see who it's on. 74, so it's going to be on the power forward. So that'll be Stacey Ogman. We'll pick up his second foul. So McAfee at the line. He sinks the first one, and he sinks the second one. Mark off his free throws, mark off the points, and then we're right to another possession. So we're looking for George Ackles. The 2 is within his rating. We'll flip, see what happens. This time we're going to be looking at the defense. So 54 on Leitner's card means that he caused a miss. So Ackles gets a missed field goal. Let's see who pulls down the rebound. And it's going to be Larry Johnson again, pulling down his second offensive board of the half. Let's see what he does with his shot. It's a 26. So he grabs the rebound, puts it back up and in, and 2 points for Larry Johnson. All right, so Duke inbounds the ball. We're looking for the shooting guard, so it's McAfee. Mark off a second time. All right, and we're going to be looking at his defensive opponent, and they're at a 10. And so it's going to be a field goal for McAfee. Mark off 2 points. And now we'll see if there was an assist. So point guard 1. Let me look at Bobby Hurley, and he has an assist rating of 42. So we'll give him an assist. And then we'll go to UNLV as they inbound the ball and bring it up the court, now trailing 45-49. Okay, so there's a look at classic college and pro basketball. And really, I feel like I was only able to scratch the surface of this game, but I really wanted to show you just how easy it is to get into the game and get going. And then once you get the basic sequences of play down, it really does start to flow very quickly. And what I really noticed about this game with the score sheets, the way they're set up and everything, is that I always had both hands going. So left hand is flipping the cards and your right hand is keeping score. And it really makes the game flow by very quickly once you get everything down. However, getting to that point is a little on the harder side just because of the way the rule book's laid out. And I feel like this is definitely a game that would benefit from a quick reference sheet, because the rule book, it describes everything in detail. However, some of the items are sort of buried in other headings. And so there is definitely a learning curve to when you first sit down and play the game. it looks a little bit intimidating, but really there's a very smooth engine underneath that, and I feel like it's worth fighting through that initial learning curve to get into the game. And another great thing about this game is that there are just so many card sets available in both the college and pro versions. So really, whatever kind of basketball game you're looking for, this might be a great game for you to pick up. Whether you're looking for your first basketball game or whether you want to try another game, I think the classic college and pro basketball just might be the new basketball game that you're looking for. Alright everybody, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. My name's Steve, and I'll see you next time after further review.